Hey guys, happy Monday and happy winter. I am Abra Kurt, a certified integrative life and wellness coach and lifestyle designer, and you are watching Sparked. Sparked is my weekly lifestyle series and a vibrant, interactive online community that meets right here in the comments of the show. Each and every week, we light fires around connection, reflection, and inspiration about all things personal growth, wellness, and the world around us. So, if you're a dreamer, a doer, or just anyone looking for a more meaningful, fulfilling, or joyful life, you're in the right place, my friend. So say hi and start connecting. I see Scott. I see Vicky. I see George. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and celebrating the solstice with me. I can't wait to talk about what is quickly becoming my favorite season of the year. Hi, Trish. It is so great to see you. As you are all hopping on, please say hi. Let me know you're here and start connecting, right? Start connecting because that is what it is all about here at Sparked. You're also going to see some links to support our content and community because you guys know it's viewers like you that keep this show up and running every single week and allow me to devote the time and energy and resources to creating unique content to share with you all here. And of course, we pay it forward with a 10% contribution to a charity doing amazing work either in our local communities or across the country. So I will tell you a little bit more about this week's charity later in the show, but please consider a contribution, links in the show description to support our community and content and help us pay it forward with a 10% contribution to charity. Now, as I mentioned, and you guys know, it is the first day of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere, and I love this season. And spoiler alert, I may or may not be doing tonight's show in my PJs, because that is how we roll on the winter solstice around here. So I am going to share my recipe for winter bliss a little bit later in the show. And also, spoiler alert, this is ingredient number 1. So stay tuned. We're also going to talk about some really inspiring solstice traditions and celebrations from across the globe. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different concepts of wintering and how understanding the different definitions of that word can help us maybe cultivate a little bit more of an appreciation for this season, because I know that not everybody out there is the winter lover that I am. I'm going to share that recipe for winter bliss, and like we do every week here on Sparked, we are going to play a few rounds of on-theme trivia. So if that lights your spark, please send up some hearts and hit that share button, and let's get a bunch of other people in your Facebook feeds celebrating the solstice here with us tonight. All right, let's light up this longest night of the year and share in our social media feeds and bring everyone into this solstice celebration. All right, and let me know who hits that share button. Let me know who has hit that share button. Let's see who else is here. Tina, hello. It is great to see you here. Georgie, Craig, hello, you guys. It is so great to see you here. Thank you for coming back and sharing this time with us week after week. I love having you guys here. I love talking about these great themes, and especially this time of year. You guys, this time of year is so special and meaningful to me. Thank you guys so much for hitting that share button and sending up all those hearts. And before we dive in to the content for tonight's show and kick things off with the quote of the week, I want to ask you guys to take to the comments because, like I said, this show is interactive. Hello, Donna. Thank you so much for hitting that share button. Georgie, thank you. Craig, thank you for hitting that share button. I want you guys to take to the comments, and for those of you who are winter lovers like me, Tell me what you love about winter. What is your favorite thing about this season that we are celebrating today? If you love winter, share what your favorite thing is about it. And if you're not so much a winter lover, tell me what you don't like about it. What is it about winter that makes you go, ugh, it's winter? So share in the comments what you love or don't love about winter. And while you're doing that, I'm going to share a little bit of what I love about this season. I've already mentioned I love the coziness of this time of year. I love when the temperatures drop and the humidity drops here in and around Washington, D.C., and I can break out the sweaters and the cozy PJs, and I don't mind when it gets dark earlier in the day. I kind of enjoy that. I love lighting candles early in the evening, and I love that soft glow of a little candlelight or a fire in the fireplace. So, those are some things that I love about this time of year. Scott says he likes looking at winter from the indoors. He doesn't love scraping the ice and snow off the car windows. Yeah, because he's the one that always has to do that here. We're totally like the gender stereotypes of like the guy in our house has to clean off the cars and like the driveway and stuff like that. Tina says she loves the sound of snow crunching under boots. Oh, I like that. Yes, a sensory experience, that sound of snow crunching. George loves the brisk air, sunshine on the snow. Yeah, I love how so for those of you who experienced the first snowfall of this season last week, we did here in Northern Virginia. And there was also a layer of ice that formed on everything. It was snow and it turned to that wintry mix of like sleet and freezing rain. And there's just a coating of ice all over everything the next day. And Scott and I had to go out and about, and we were driving through some beautiful neighborhoods where the trees just looked like they had been dipped in glitter. You guys, just looked like they had been dipped in glitter, and it was so beautiful. And George, your sunshine on snow reminded me of what everything looked like around here the day after our snowfall last week. I love that too. I love that too. And I love, all the things that happen this time of year, right? I love all the things that happen this time of year. Everything from the Christmas season to, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and that feeling of anticipation that we have for a new year and a clean slate and a fresh start. And the way everybody feels just a little bit more, I don't know, kind and generous and soft this time of year. So all those things are some of the things that I love about winter. And I didn't see anyone actually talking about things that they don't love. So maybe everybody here is a little bit more of a winter lover like me. Craig says snowball fights and making a snowman if we can get enough snow. Yes, Craig, I am with you on that, my friend. We love snow so much we even have a bucket of indoor snowballs so we can have snowball fights even if we don't have enough snow. And we had fully had plans to go out and make some snow angels last week, and that didn't happen, but I'm a big fan of playing in it. Vicky says Meadville, where she lives up in northern Pennsylvania, can get some radical blizzards. So shoveling and trudging through the snow, not her favorite thing. She likes being on the inside looking out. Donna says fresh snow is beautiful, but she prefers the warmth of summer. Yes. Hey, Dana, it is so great to see you here. Did we see the Christmas star? You know what? We did not see the Christmas star here. I was getting ready for the show tonight, but as I was reading through some comments on Facebook, I saw that people were posting some amazing pictures. So I can't wait to go through all those and see everybody's great photos. But if anybody did get a chance to see it, let me know in the comments. And if you took a picture of it, please share it. Share it to my page and let me know, or share it to this event page and let us all know, because I would love to see some pictures from people who did get to see it this evening. Georgia says she did. Yes, it was beautiful. Oh, that is amazing, you guys. I love that. I love that. Vicky prefers the warm summers with Donna as well. Yeah, so there's a mix of, the people that love, and I don't mind other seasons. Here in DC, it gets really hot and humid in the summer, so I do prefer the cooler weather, I have to say, and I'm becoming more and more of a fan of winter. So maybe after tonight's episode, y'all watching or catching the replay will love this season a little bit more too. All right, you guys, it is time for the quote of the week, which is always on theme. So tonight's quote is obviously going to be about winter, right? It's going to be about winter. And it's about encouraging us to appreciate winter a little bit more. And this week, our quote of the week comes from a Unitarian minister and an abolitionist who was a friend of John Brown. And his name is Thomas Wentworth Higginson. Thomas Wentworth Higginson. Tell me, you guys, that is not a great name. Who doesn't love a name like Thomas Wentworth Higginson? So this week's quote of the week is from Thomas Wentworth Higginson, and it is about appreciating winter. And this is what he tells us. How many lessons of faith and beauty should we lose if there were no winter in our year? How many lessons of faith and beauty? So think about that, you guys, right? Lessons of faith and beauty. So many of us have celebrations of our faith this time of year, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or secular celebrations like Kwanzaa or celebrating the solstice, which is what we're all here doing together tonight. So how many lessons of faith and beauty, right? And beauty, the beauty of nature. There's another great quote about the bone structure of nature that we get to see this time of year that I really love. How many lessons of faith and beauty we should lose if there were no winter in our year? I just love that quote. It made me think about all the things that happen this time of year and all the things that I appreciate about these colder months, aside from the fun things like snowball fights and the snow crunching and all of that, cozy stuff. But those celebrations, the lessons of beauty and our faith that we all celebrate this time of year as well. Georgie says she loves the change of seasons. Yes, I do too, Georgie. I love living in a place where we get to see, and experience a little bit of every season. There's a lot of summer here, a lot of heat and humid in the summer. We get about a week of spring, a week of fall, and then there's winter. But I love living in a place where we have a change of season. And, snow is one of my favorite things. I mentioned the snowfall last week. So, of course, I'm drinking out of my Let It Snow mug. And I know some of you prefer to appreciate that from the indoors. But I'm a fan of the indoors and the outdoors, as long as it's not like super freezing cold and like blowing, sleeting, that wintry mix, icy stuff like in my face. But I love a good cup of warm something this time of year. Yeah, Donna says she loves the quote. So true. How many things we would lose if we didn't have winter in our year to celebrate them, right? I love that too. All right, you guys, I am going to ask our first trivia question of the night. Our first trivia question related to celebrating the solstice and winter. And the first trivia question of the night is, what is the name of the sacred place where people gather on the day of the Northern Hemisphere winter solstice to watch as the sun sets and then rises amidst great stones? What is the name of the sacred place where people gather on the day of the Northern Hemisphere winter solstice to watch the sunset and also rise from between great standing stones? You guys, take your guesses in the quotes. The name of that sacred space where people gather to watch the solstice sunset and sunrise. All right. Trish says she loves all the cuddles with the kids and grandkids. Yeah, there's a lot of cuddling that happens this time of year. We have a lot of kitties in our house to cuddle with, and there's actually one here with me tonight. This is the first time, you guys, I've ever done a show with a kitty in my office studio space. So anything can happen. She is curled up, sleeping like a little angel on the love seat across the room right now. But who knows if she wakes up, what could happen. But I'm going to talk about the coziness of kitties and cuddling with them a little bit later in the show. And so I thought, I can't kick her out. I can't kick her out tonight. So she's napping over there, being a sweet little angel. I see some guesses coming in, and yes, you guys are absolutely right. Craig, Donna, Scott, Trish, everyone is saying Stonehenge. Scott says Foamhenge because there is a place that we love to visit in the fall called Cox Farms. We always do a hayride and get our pumpkins there and things like that, and they have a replica of Stonehenge called Foamhenge with the giant rocks made of foam, and you can take your picture and pretend that you are in Salisbury, England, celebrating maybe the solstice or something else at Stonehenge. Yes, you guys are right. Dana says it would have been even more special to be there today with the Christmas star. Dana, I totally agree, and I want to let everybody know that I did get to watch the solstice sunset yesterday at Stonehenge virtually. So because of the pandemic restrictions, Stonehenge is not able to welcome visitors right now this year. And so to bring the solstice celebration to anyone who wanted to watch around the world, the nonprofit English Heritage broadcast the winter solstice sunset live from Stonehenge yesterday, which our time here on the East Coast of the United States was just a little bit after 11. And I know Trish was watching with me, and if anybody else was watching with me live or caught that replay, I actually posted, I shared their video live to my feed while I was watching yesterday. So you can catch the replay if you go to my Facebook page, and you can watch the solstice sunset from Stonehenge as well. And you guys, it is so beautiful. I have not been to that part of the world, and I've not been to Stonehenge. It is on my bucket list of places to visit, but that sacred space, there's just something really magical about the intentional building of that structure to mark the passage of time, right? That's like why it's there in the first place. And so they had this incredible music playing in the background, and just this peacefulness of watching the sunset between those stones, and knowing, you know, we were reading quotes from people all over the world, and there were over 11,000 people on that live at one point while I was watching yesterday. And it was just amazing to realize that we, you know, we're all looking up at that same sun that's rising and setting, right? And it just reminded me of how connected we all really are. And it was just really magical for me. Craig said he's been to Cox Farms and never saw the Foamhenge. Well, my friend, when they reopen after this pandemic is under control and they reopen, so their festival was canceled this year. So they did the drive-through hayride this year, but they didn't have the just walk around festival. But yeah, 2021. Go check out Foamhenge, get some photos. Scott and I have pictures from Foamhenge. We took Vicky, as she's mentioning in the comments. Yeah, I know a lot of us have seen Foamhenge at Cox Farms. Trish said it was awesome watching the solstice sunset yesterday. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, Dana, check it out. It was really cool. Do a virtual visit to Stonehenge. The English Heritage nonprofit has a great Facebook presence, and they were broadcasting live yesterday. And they were doing beautiful zooms in and out as well, so you could see it from a great distance and kind of watch that light filtering through the stones. Then they were also doing some close-up shots. It was really, really well done. It was almost like watching some kind of, you know, cinematic film. It was really, really beautiful. Scott says Stonehenge is also a great Spinal Tap song. I have no doubt. I have to confess, I have never seen that movie. Scott is introducing me to a lot of great movies that I've never seen, and vice versa, I would say, He made a Christmas Story lover out of me, and now I'm obsessed with that movie, you guys. I've been obsessed with all things Christmas Story since I watched that movie for the first time a couple weeks ago. So I'm sure Spinal Tap is somewhere in my near future. All right, you guys. So Stonehenge was the answer indeed to our first trivia question of the night. And that tradition, of course, has been born out of Druid practices, right? The whole configuration of the stones was it was an ancient kind of pagan ritual, right, to mark the passage of the seasons and the passage of time. And so I said that we were going to dive into a couple of other solstice celebrations around the globe. So I want to share a couple of other really cool solstice celebrations and traditions with you guys. One of which happens just to our north in Canada, where every year communities across Canada host Solstice Lantern Festival celebrations. Solstice Lantern Festival celebrations. And if you guys Google Solstice Lantern Festival, there's just a million. There's every community in Canada, it seems like, has their own festival every year, which is a parade of light, and people literally walk through the streets carrying these really elaborately crafted and decorated lanterns illuminated to bring, of course, light to the longest, darkest night of the year. There are also street markets and music and theatrical performances, dancing. They do life-size puppets. So it's kind of like this almost Mardi Gras sort of feeling, right, in the streets of some of these communities in Canada with their solstice celebrations, which is very cool. And I also even stumbled across something called the Secret Lantern Society. The Secret Lantern Society, you guys, it sounds like something that you should get like a decoder ring for. But the Secret Lantern Society is a nonprofit, artist-run, community-driven organization that provides opportunities for the public to engage with the artists who are participating in these festivals every year, and also provide input to their own community events. So how cool is that, you guys? Yay, Canada. Let's send up some hearts for Canada and their solstice lantern festivals and the Secret Lantern Society. And I think they should make decoder rings, you guys. Okay, another great tradition happens in our Scandinavian neighbor countries, where they celebrate St. Lucia Day on December 13th, because in the old calendars, before the Julian calendar made the solstice on the 20th or 21st, right? The old calendars celebrated the solstice on the 13th. And as a lot of those old pagan festivals observing winter solstice have merged with, other faith traditions and modern traditions, we have these kind of hybrid celebrations. And that's what they do in the Scandinavian countries on St. Lucia Day on December 13th, which is another kind of parade of lights with a procession of young women wearing white robes with red sashes and crowns of candles, crowns of wreaths of candles on their heads. So I'm sure these are probably like the flameless candles, I would hope, at this point. But lighting their way through the darkness of their community streets, they also have this incredible food and drink tradition to go along with it. They include ginger snaps, saffron bread, and glögg, which is a hot spiced wine. So yum yum, and yay, Scandinavia and St. Lucia Day. And of course, I also want to share, you guys, the winter solstice isn't just celebrated here in the northern hemisphere in December, but our friends south of the equator also celebrate the solstice, but they do it in June. And a dear friend of mine, Marcella, shared a photo on my page yesterday when I posted the video of the Stonehenge celebration. She shared a beautiful photo to my page yesterday of a solstice celebration in Bolivia. She is of Bolivian heritage, and she shared a photo of a solstice celebration in Bolivia, which grew out of an ancient Incan tradition of watching the first solstice sun rise. And so she shared a photo of a solstice sunrise in Bolivia when she was participating in this Incan tradition. So how cool is that, you guys? Celebrations around the world from different cultures. So many different ways to celebrate the solstice. I feel like it gets kind of, it gets short shrift here in the United States because it's so close to Christmas, and other than maybe, now tonight that there's this, the Christmas star is happening and there's a little bit something that's more newsworthy associated with it. I don't know. I don't know that we really give the solstice its due here in the US. But Tina says she has those outfits and things. We had an exchange student from Sweden. She says, I love that, Tina. That is so cool. So you guys probably did a solstice celebration, right? Obviously with your student. How very cool is that? I love it when we can bring traditions like that from other cultures and faiths into our own world, and kind of give them life and meaning for us, which is what I'm trying to do a little bit here tonight with celebrating the solstice and give this celebration its due here in the US in ways that, sometimes we don't always acknowledge it that way, right? We don't always acknowledge it that way. Okay, you guys, time for trivia question number 2. Trivia question number 2. All right. What mythical Himalayan creature shares its name with a popular outdoor gear manufacturer? What mythical Himalayan snow creature shares its name with a popular American outdoor gear manufacturer? All right. Trivia question number 2. Share your guesses in the comments. We are looking for a mythological Himalayan snow creature that shares its name with a popular American outdoor gear manufacturer. All right, if you have a guess, share in the comments. And while you're doing that, I want to talk a little bit about the concept of wintering. The concept of wintering, right? What does that word mean to us, right? What does the word wintering mean? And there's kind of the fun concept of wintering, right? People talk about wintering in warm places, right? Getting away from the cold climates for the season. I have in-laws who are from northwestern Pennsylvania who winter in Florida for the season. So there's the wintering associated with vacationing, right? And going somewhere warm, all right? I'm seeing a lot of guesses coming in for that mythical Himalayan snow creature that shares its name with a popular American outdoor gear manufacturer. Lots of guesses for Yeti coming in. A lot of guesses for Yeti. And yeah, you guys, you are absolutely right. It is Yeti. It is Yeti. And we love us some Yeti products around here. I know Scott has a couple of Yeti things that he swears by. Scott says he would have said Yeti, but I said mythological. And we all know that the Yeti is real. Yeah. Who believes in Yeti, you guys? Who believes in Yeti? He's like the Himalayan Bigfoot, right? He's the Himalayan Bigfoot. Scott is a big fan of Bigfoot and Yeti, also known as the abominable snowman, right? Also known as a Bumble, right? From it's the Rudolph cartoon that comes out this time every year, right? So yeah, Yeti, real, sorry, mythological. Yeah, I took that from his Wikipedia page. Sorry. Yeah, Rudolph calls him Bumble. All right, you guys. Yeah, everybody guessed Yeti except for Scott because he's like, I was looking for the mythological thing, so I had no idea. All right, you guys. So the concept of wintering, right? So there's like the vacation wintering where we just, fly south or somewhere exotic and tropical to get away from the cold temperatures. There's also the concept of wintering as it applies to our preparedness for the season, right? Winterizing, right? So like winterizing our cars, winterizing our homes and our gardens or our outdoor spaces, right? Like things like turning off the water sources outside so the pipes don't freeze if it gets really cold where we are, right? So those kinds of things. There's also wintering as a state of mind. Wintering as a state of mind. And I want to share this amazing book with you guys that is aptly named Wintering by Catherine May. And it is the power of rest and retreat in difficult times. So, this concept of wintering is the state of mind that kind of comes along with that starker, colder, harsher season of the year. And that can also be associated with grief or loss or mourning in some way, and kind of shutting off and slowing down and retreat and hibernation. So all of those concepts she brings so beautifully to life in this book called Wintering. And for people who are going through a more difficult season, I couldn't recommend this book more highly. It has some of the most beautiful writing, you guys, ever. She truly has the heart of a poet. And I just want to share this little passage with you guys because I think it is so, so beautiful. Catherine May says in her book Wintering, plants and animals don't fight the winter. They don't pretend it's not happening and attempt to carry on living the same lives that they lived in summer. They prepare. They adapt. They perform extraordinary acts of metamorphosis to get them through. Winter is a time of withdrawing from the world, maximizing scant resources, carrying out acts of brutal efficiency and vanishing from sight. But that's where the transformation occurs. Winter is not the death of the life cycle, but its crucible. Once we stop wishing it were summer, winter can be a glorious season in which the world takes on a sparse beauty, and even the pavements sparkle, as George shared with us all earlier. It's a time for reflection and recuperation, for slow replenishment, for putting your house in order. I love that. And that is just one of the really powerful, evocative passages from this book. You guys, I couldn't recommend Wintering by Catherine May any more highly. She's a beautiful writer. And that passage just really spoke to me about how our animal friends really are just, nature's great adapters, and we can learn a lot from them about their approach to the change of seasons and about their own preparedness, right? So, wintering, right? A state of mind, a state of being. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of wintering as a phase of life. So we talk about the seasons of life, right? The springtime of our life is when we're young. They kind of assign these 20-year increments, right, to the different phases of life. So our springtime is, up until we're 20. Our summer is, our 20s through our 30s until we hit 40. And then 40 and, until we hit the end of our 50s is our autumn, our fall. I'm firmly ensconced in fall. And then there's wintering, and they say that once we turn 60, that we kind of enter this wintering phase of life, right? Our older years, our senior years are also associated with wintering. And to that end, we're at the halfway point of our episode, and that means it is time for a moment of joy. And of course, we're always on theme here at Sparked, and this week's moment of joy is about the concept of wintering as it relates to that phase of life. That phase of life a little bit. It is about an incredible senior, but also about kind of the harshness that has been this season and this year for many of us, for all of us in different ways, right, in general. So this week's moment of joy is all about an incredibly strong woman in the winter of her life. It is also a pandemic story, the kind that we haven't heard as much about this year, okay? This is a story about a survivor, an elderly survivor, and an elder care facility. And we've heard a lot about how they've done so many things wrong, right? So many of them doing so many things wrong during this year and during this pandemic. But this is about a senior survivor and an elder care facility who managed this crisis so, so well. So this week's moment of joy is about a woman named Tilly Dybing. Tilly Dybing. I love that her name is Tilly. That just made my heart smile. And the Ecumen Detroit Lakes Community Home. Now, Tilly is already, she's a hardy Midwestern Minnesotan, y'all, well accustomed to wintering in many ways. Tilly is 107 years old. Tilly is 107 years old, and Tilly is a survivor, you guys. Tilly recently beat COVID-19, and we've heard all of the devastating ways that this has affected our older citizens, right? Our older citizens, those with some immune issues, some other pre-existing health issues, right? Tilly's 107, and you guys, she just beat COVID. She just beat COVID after being diagnosed this fall. And according to officials at Ecumen Detroit Lakes, where she has lived since 2015, so she's been there for 5 years, she moved into her elder care facility at the age of 102. So for the past 5 years, she's been a resident there. She just beat COVID at the age of 107. But you guys, this is not the first pandemic that Tilly has survived. She was born in 1913, so she was almost 5 years old when the 1918 flu pandemic swept the globe and also hit her family's farm, which was in North Dakota at the time. And you guys, that isn't all. This woman has been through it in her life. She is also a cancer survivor, having beaten uterine cancer at the age of 95. Tilly is a survivor in every sense of the word. 2 global pandemics, survived cancer, and in fact, her daughter said the only COVID-19 symptom that Tilly had was fatigue. Her daughter says she just slept all the time. So after being sequestered away in a recovery unit from the general population at Ecumen Detroit Lakes, Tilly recently moved back into her apartment at the care facility, completely COVID-free and ready to resume her 107-year-old life. So you guys, let's send up some big hearts for Tilly, an amazing survivor, for her incredible caregivers at Ecumen Detroit Lakes who saw her through her illness, and for the healing powers of sleep, you guys, the healing powers of sleep. We all know how devastating this disease has been for so many, and that story just warmed my heart. I love survivor stories and stories of strong, tough women who have faced so much in their lives and have survived it. So big hearts for Tilly. And survivors like her. May she see many more happy and full years to come. All right, you guys, it is now time for our third trivia question of the night. Okay, and of course, it is on theme. We're talking about winter here. So, this trivia question is, where were the first Winter Olympics held? Where were the first Winter Olympics held? Country is fine. What country? In what country were the first Winter Olympics held? So bonus points for anything more specific, like, the region or the year, if you know that. But we're just going right here with, where were the first Winter Olympics held? Yeah, Georgie says, God bless you, Tilly, right? Doesn't that just make your heart smile? We love Tilly. All right, what country hosted the first Winter Olympics? Yeah, Donna says Tilly sounds like a shero. She does. I want to know more about Tilly. You guys, I'm one of those people, I read stories like that, and I'm like, I need to know more about her life. Like, she grew up on a farm in North Dakota, and she survived the flu epidemic of 1918 and lived this long life and didn't go into a care facility until she was 102, y'all. So what was her life like? I want to know all the amazing things that I know she did during her life. I want to know more about Tilly. So you guys, share your guesses in the comments. What country hosted the very first Winter Olympics? And while you guys are taking your guesses, it is time for me to share my recipe for winter bliss. Yeah, I promised I was going to share a few of my favorite wintry things. My recipe for winter bliss. And I said, this is ingredient number 1. This is ingredient number 1, y'all, right here. Something like head to toe cozy. head to toe cozy, you guys. I'm wearing pajamas. I'm wearing pajamas tonight. Yeah, that's how we roll. And my shirt says, the snuggle is real. You guys, the snuggle is real. It is winter. And let's face it, this is for the most part how I've been dressing since March. So, cozy or not, winter solstice or not, yeah, the snuggle is real on the first day of winter and all through the rest of the year in many ways as well. All right, we've got some guesses coming through for what country hosted the first Winter Olympics. I see an England from Scott, and Austria from George, and Italy from Rose, Switzerland, France. A lot of great guesses coming in, you guys. A lot of great guesses. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. All right, yeah. France, Switzerland, Italy, Austria, England. All right, keep them coming. We're going to circle back to that in a minute. But I'm going to keep going with my recipe for winter bliss, starting with head to toe cozy, you guys. Get y'all some comfy clothes, some flannel PJs. These are not flannel, but they are like the super softest. My favorite pajama brand in all the land is PJ Salvage, you guys. PJ Salvage. That is who made my Snuggle is Real shirt. I have just about 8,000 pairs of their flannel pajamas. And I, despite how many I have, I keep getting new ones every year because I love them so much. And they do a lot of fun patterns and things like that. So I love always seeing their new patterns that they come out with every year. PJ Salvage is my favorite, but get y'all some head to toe cozy. That includes fuzzy socks. Georgie knows all about fuzzy socks. I have some fuzzy socks courtesy of Georgie. Bunny slippers, whatever it is, you guys, head to toe cozy. Ingredient number 1. Ingredient number 2, some soothing, introspective, deep, wintry music. You guys, some soothing, introspective, deep, kind of winter music. And to get you guys in the mood, I made a winter playlist. I made a wintering playlist that I will share with you in the show notes that I publish tomorrow. They will go live on my website by midday. As always, more guesses coming in. George says Japan. All right. I will say this. Someone has guessed the correct answer. Someone has guessed the correct answer. We have in England and Austria and Italy, Switzerland, France, and Japan. Someone has guessed the correct answer. So we will circle back to that in a minute. But some super, deep, introspective, slower, softer winter music. And I created a wintering playlist that I will share with you guys that features one of my favorite sort of winter songs, which is literally titled Winter by Tori Amos. And it's just sparse, spare, but really beautifully played and sung. Tori Amos had one of the most incredible voices, in my opinion, as a female vocalist. And I just love that song. And so that is on my playlist among with a full hour's worth of music for you guys for your winter enjoyment. So check that out tomorrow when the show notes publish. Ingredient number 3 is a good cuppa something hot. A good cuppa something hot. Could be glögg in here, right, you guys? Could be some Scandinavian glögg in here. Could be mulled wine. It's not. It's actually tea. So I love all things Hallmark. I think you guys know that. I've mentioned that before. I'm sipping some cinnamon vanilla tea, which is a Hallmark and Republic of Tea partnership. And this couldn't be tastier. The cinnamon vanilla tea, you guys. So yummy. So yummy. But a steaming cuppa something, whether you're a coffee person or a cocoa person or a tea person or a hot wine person, whatever it is, a steaming cup of something. Ingredient number 4. All right, ingredient number 4 is a roaring fire. A roaring fire. And I know not everybody has a fireplace. It's more about the glow of what a fire looks like to me than the heat from the fire. And even before I had a working fireplace, in our house, I would, you guys, and I think I've mentioned this before on the show, I would stream or play a fireplace DVD. And now that there's streaming, you can also stream fireplace with the sounds, the crackling fireplace sounds, and all of the things. So Yeah, a roaring fire, you guys, is an ingredient, ingredient number 4 for me. And even if you don't have a fireplace, stream it, get yourself a fireplace DVD. It just makes everything feel cozier this time of year. Trish says, yeah, her favorite is hot buttered rum. Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Anything you can put in a mug, right? Something hot, something steaming, something yummy. All right, you guys, we're halfway through my ingredients for my recipe for winter bliss, and I said we did have a correct answer for the trivia question: what country hosted the first Winter Olympics? And Trish with France was the correct answer. Trish said France, and that is correct, you guys. The very first Winter Olympics happened way, way back, almost 100 years ago, in 2024. We will be celebrating the 100th anniversary. So 1924, the very first Winter Olympics were held in Chamonix, France. Chamonix, France. And that is the base of Mont Blanc, which, you know, the pen Mont Blanc, right, is named after that mountain, which is the tallest mountain in the Alps. So nice job, Trish. Yes, France was the first host of the Winter Olympics. All right. Ingredient number 5, you guys, in my recipe for winter bliss. I'm all about flames this time of year. I'm all about flames. The roaring fire. Ingredient number 5 is a scented candle. A scented candle, you guys, and this is why I started making my own way, way back, and now have them as a consciously aligned product with my business. And my favorite scent right now is cozy. This time of year, I'm all about things baking. And so even when I'm not able to devote the time for baking, this candle scent just smells like snickerdoodles baking in the oven. This is a smoked vanilla and spices. So there's like nutmeg and clove and cinnamon in here. And cozy is my favorite scent right now. But whatever your favorite scent is, scented candle is a must for me in the winter. A must for me in the winter, you guys. Ingredient number 6. A super soft, oversized blanket. A super soft, oversized blanket. Something that you can just wrap around your shoulders or throw over your lap. My favorite for napping is one of the big oversized weighted blankets. And who here, raise your hands in the comments if you have a weighted blanket and love it. Okay, if you have a weighted blanket and love it, let me know if you're one of my people, because I am a big fan of the weighted blanket, you guys. I asked for, oh gosh, it was probably 2 Christmases ago. I think I asked Scott, I put a weighted blanket on my Christmas list and he got me one. And you guys, if you have trouble sleeping, it's like a natural, whatever the word is for things that put you to sleep. I'm like having a total mind loss right now, but it is just it naturally, like, you just fall right to sleep. I don't know what it is. It's not just the hype, you guys. The weighted blanket, Tina says that she just bought one. Yeah, I don't know if you've used it yet, but I love my weighted blanket. It's that super soft, like super plush, like kind of faux furry, microfibery stuff. And it's like a 15-pound. Ours is 15 pounds. And oh my gosh, you guys, I put it on and lay down and I'm like out in 5 minutes. It is just like a natural sleep aid, you guys, a natural sleep aid, the perfect thing for napping. So if you're not napping though, but you want a blanket for reading or watching TV or something like that, I don't recommend the weighted one, because for me, I would just fall right off to sleep, and be sitting there the whole time sleeping. Snoring probably. Georgie says, yeah, she's a big fan of the weighted blanket. Yes, love, love, love the weighted blankets, but by any, definition, just a good, like, super soft, oversized blanket that you can curl up in for reading or watching TV, napping. Get yourself a weighted blanket though. You're going to love it. Okay, ingredient number 7. Ingredient number 7. You know I am a huge book lover. I have my monthly book club here on Sparked, and I have my in real life book club with my girlfriends, and I'm just reading constantly, and usually more than one book at a time. But in the winter, you guys, I'm all about some specific kinds of books in the winter, all about some specific kinds of books. And for me, I love a good mystery. I love a good mystery in the winter, and this one I cannot wait to dive into. My book club just recently had our Secret Santa gift exchange, and we did a book exchange this year. And my Secret Santa got me Louise Penny's All the Devils Are Here, which is the latest in the Inspector Gamache mystery series. So, if is anybody else here who reads Louise Penny mysteries, show me your hand in the comments if you're a Louise Penny fan. This is my first. But I was super intrigued by this. I read a review of it and I was like, oh, I need to read that. It's going to be a new mystery series for me. So the latest one, can't wait to dive in. But if you're a Louise Penny fan or Inspector Gamache, raise your hand and let me know if you love that book series. I can't wait to dive in and read it this winter. I also heard they're making a movie out of the very first one in that series. So I'm super excited for that to come out at some point and see a movie version of one of the books. But cozy mysteries, big must for me in the winter, or for me, it's rereading a book from childhood that was like wintry, and for me, that was things like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis was one of those wintry books for me when I was young. The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder in like the Little House series. There are a bunch of great, like The Snow Queen is a great winter fairy tale. So for me, it's like also rereading a childhood book that takes me back to winter. Little Women opens at Christmas time and is set in winter. So books like that. So if you're a winter reader, let me know in the comments. Share like one of the things that you love reading, or what are you reading right now? If you're a big reader, share a book recommendation with me in the comments, because I love reading all year round, and especially this time of year, and just curling up with a good cozy mystery or a book that takes me back to childhood. There's nothing like it. So that's ingredient number 7 for me. Ingredient number 8 is, how many of you guys were here a couple episodes back when we did the Hygge and Happiness episode of Sparked, the Hygge and Happiness, where we talked about kind of that Nordic tradition of Hygge, which is about really embracing the coziness of this season, right? And we talked about some Hygge activities. I did a Hygge and Happiness bingo card that I will link to again, because it has a great array of Hygge activities. And so for me, that's things like puzzling, putting jigsaw puzzles together. I also love adult coloring books, and I just got a new one for winter called Woodland Wonder. So if you're an adult coloring book person, this one is just adorable, and it has all of these kind of folk art drawings of animals wearing like scarves and sweaters and doing things in nature, but it's absolutely adorable. Here's a fox in a little scarf. So I'm super excited to pull out the colored pencils over the holiday break and start coloring some pages in my winter Woodland Wonder coloring book. Okay, Hygge activity, ingredient number 8. Ingredient number 9 for me, I mentioned a little bit earlier. It is having a kitty on my lap, you guys, a kitty on my lap. There is just something about curling up, and I would say a fur baby of any kind, right? Just curling up with your fur baby. There's really nothing like that any time of year, but especially in the winter. But you guys, I don't know what it is for me. Scott and I are cat people. We have 4 rescue babies here in our house. And for me, there's just something about seeing a kitty curled up on a blanket on my lap that just makes my heart sing. So for me, the fur baby on the lap is a kitty. It could be, a bunny. It could be your puppy. It could be whatever. A fur baby on the lap is my number 9 ingredient for winter bliss. And rounding out my top 10 ingredients for winter bliss, my recipe for winter bliss, number 10 is snow. Snow, you guys, and we've already talked about it a lot. It's that glistening of snow that George mentioned. It's the crunching your boots in it that Tina mentioned, right? It's the sitting inside in the warmth and coziness of our homes under our weighted blankets that Vicky and Donna and so many others mentioned, right? I'm watching it fall outside our windows, but I love snow, and we don't get enough of it here for my taste in Northern Virginia. Not enough to have those snowball fights that Craig loves and make those snow angels in the snow and build snowmen. But there is a rumor out there that there is Christmas Eve is supposed to be super warm and it's supposed to rain though, but then Christmas Day is supposed to be really cold. So, depending on when the changeover in temperature happens, we could see a little bit of snowfall and maybe have a white Christmas here in Northern Virginia this year. And I am just doing my snow dance and crossing my fingers and all the, things to the snow gods to bring us a white Christmas because we deserve it this year. We deserve it, 2020. Let's go out with a white Christmas, all right? Right? You can do that for us, right? Okay. So snow is my last ingredient for winter bliss, and that brings me to my last trivia question of the night. And that is, what device was invented by a 15-year-old? What was invented by 15-year-old Joseph Armand Bombardier? We have these 3-name people tonight that I'm just digging their names. What was invented by 15-year-old Joseph Armand Bombardier after a successful test run on the streets of Valcourt, Quebec on New Year's Eve, 1922? What did 15-year-old Joseph invent after it had a successful test run on the streets in Canada, New Year's Eve, 1922? And remember, we are talking about winter-themed trivia tonight, you guys. All right, take your guesses. We had some easier ones tonight early on, but this one might stump you guys. But I don't know. I feel like somebody out there is going to get it. So take some guesses. What did 15-year-old Joseph invent after successfully test running it on the streets of Valcourt, Quebec, Canada in 1922? All right. While you guys are making your guesses in the comments, I promised I was going to talk about this week's charity, you guys, because there are links to support our content and community in the show description. And every single week, we pay that forward with a 10% contribution to charity. And it's those contributions that allow me to devote my time and energy and resources to creating new and interesting and inspiring content for you guys and bring us all together here week after week after week to talk about fun things like the winter solstice and what the heck ever 15-year-old Joseph invented back in 1922 in Quebec, Canada. So, this week's charity that we are paying it forward to with a 10% contribution to charity is also a little bit on theme with the concept of wintering as it relates to that season of life, that wintering season of life, and one of my ingredients for winter bliss. And tonight's charity, you guys, is called Pause for Seniors. Pause for Seniors. And Pause for Seniors is a senior cat and dog rescue and rehabilitation organization that is located in Bealton, Virginia, which is like right next door to us here in Loudoun County in Fauquier County, Virginia. So that's where Bealton is located. And Pause is on a mission to rescue and rehabilitate senior pets so they can live out their golden years with dignity and love. And in many cases, to match them also with senior humans who are in need of companionship. How amazing is that, you guys? Pause for Seniors, both senior animals and senior humans. Now, senior cats and dogs arrive at Pause from a number of sources, including shelters who have really hard times. Senior animals have a really hard time finding their forever homes in shelters, you guys. So if you've ever thought about adopting a fur baby, look for those ones who are a little bit older. They need the love too, besides just the little babies, right? Also from owners who can no longer take care of them because of, maybe their own circumstances, right? Pause for Seniors ensures that each pet receives a complete medical exam, vaccinations, blood work. They're tested for heartworm and tick-borne diseases, all of the feline AIDS and leukemia tests for cats. They're spayed and neutered, and they receive dental care and any other medical necessities that they might need. So they cover all of their medical expenses, you guys, before they match these senior animals with their forever homes. And Paw's founders, Brenda and Jim Scamardella, first were foster parents, foster animal parents for an organization that housed pets when an owner was fleeing a domestic violence situation or because of a foreclosure. So they started out in a foster situation for a completely different organization that helped people who were fleeing domestic violence or who were suffering foreclosure and couldn't keep their pets. Now, this was a cause close to Brenda's heart because at one point she had been a victim of domestic violence and understood the plight that those people faced. One of the dogs they took in for this organization ended up touching them tremendously. And this was a golden retriever Cocker Spaniel mix named Daiquiri, who remained with them for the rest of her life when she fostered them initially. Jim said, "We realized senior pets really needed someone." She was 19 when they got her, and she almost made it to her 22nd birthday, thanks to Jim and Brenda. He said she was their inspiration for starting Paws for Seniors. Now, it's not a traditional shelter. All of the Paws animals live in foster homes like Jim and Brenda had way back then until they find their forever home. And you guys, this year alone, despite all the craziness of the pandemic and the hurdles and the restrictions and all the things, they have made a difference. Paws for Seniors has made a difference in the lives of more than 350 cats and dogs. They have changed the lives of more than 350 cats and dogs, you guys. So big hearts for Jim and Brenda, for Paws for Seniors, for all those cats and dogs and seniors who are getting companionship from this amazing organization. That is where 10% of our charity contributions will be going this week. So if you're considering a contribution to support our content and community here on Sparked, we will pay it forward to Paws for Seniors this week. So thank you guys so much. And while we're on the subject of thank yous, I want to thank Georgie, Vicky, Donna, and Rose for your incredibly generous support over the past week. It is people like you who keep this show up and running and allow us to have this community and meet every week and do what we do here on Sparked. So thank you so much. This week we are paying it forward with a 10% contribution to Paws for Seniors, senior animal rescue and rehabilitation, and matching with seniors in need of companionship in many cases. All right, you guys, the trivia question was, what was invented by 15-year-old Joseph Armand Bombardier after a successful test run on the streets of Valcourt, Quebec, Canada on New Year's Eve in 1922? And I saw a lot of guesses come in. We had bobsled or maybe a snowmobile from Scott. Tina says snowmobile. Trish says sled. Georgia says snowmobile. George says snow saucer. Vicky said dog sled. Great guesses, you guys. Great guesses. We do have some correct answers here. I did not stump you guys with any question tonight. The correct answer is snowmobile. So everyone who said snowmobile is correct. Scott, Tina, Georgie. Yes, you guys are correct. It was snowmobile. Can you guys believe it? A 15-year-old invented the very first prototype snowmobile. And think about how that has changed and grown and evolved over the years, all the way back in 1922. So the 20s must have been a big year for winter things, just starting for the first time. We're thinking a lot about those parallels this year, right, with the roaring 20s of the 1900s and coming out of the flu pandemic. And we may see some innovation and things like that coming out of this year. Who knows, right? But they attribute a lot of that innovation and revelry of the 20s to having just suffered this horrible global flu pandemic of 1918. So who knows what we're going to see in the years to come that was born out of this. This show is one of the things that was born out of the pandemic this year. We started Sparked all the way back in May for Mental Health Awareness Month. We started with a Mindset Mondays episode 4 episodes in a row of Mindset Mondays back in May, and we're still going strong, and we're still going to be going strong into 2021, you guys. I can't wait to stay with you guys through the new year. We are not going anywhere as long as you guys show up and want us to be here and delivering this content and community every single week. I will be here consistently showing up for you the way you all show up for me. So thank you for that. And next week, as we are closing out 2020, you guys, can you believe there are 10 days left in this year, 10 days left in this year. Next week is going to be our very last Sparked episode of 2020. And because it is the last Monday of the month, that means it is our monthly Let's Get Lit book club chat. And I will be talking about big magic this month and sharing my biggest takeaways. I revisited this book that was published in 2015 because I felt like we could really all use an infusion of inspiration and big magic this year. And this book delivered that and then some for me back in 2015 when it was first published. So I wanted to revisit this book and share it all with you. So next week I'll be sharing my big takeaways from Big Magic before we close the door on 2020 and launch into 2021. And I also want to share with you guys, speaking of big magic, the first weekend of 2021, I will be doing a Women's New Year's virtual retreat. I know some of you are already aware. I know we have Trish already all signed up. And it's going to be a goal setting and vision boarding retreat. So if that has ever sounded like something that you would be interested in doing, we're going to be incorporating some life coaching elements. There's going to be some centering and goal setting. I am going to share my signature heart goal setting method, which differs and I feel is a little bit more authentic and action oriented and sets us up for success and achievement more than the corporate SMART goals method. So you're going to learn my signature heart goal setting method, and we're going to do some guided vision boarding together. That is happening on January 3rd. And for anyone who is a Sparked viewer, if you use the code Sparked New Year at checkout on my website at abracurt.com, you will save $50 off that retreat price. $50. That drops that price way, way down to just $25 for anybody who is a Sparked viewer and uses coupon code Sparked New Year. I will also include that coupon code in the show notes that we'll publish tomorrow. But that is how we are rolling out of 2020 here on Sparked. Next year, we're going to be talking about some big magic and teeing up all the great things to come in 2021. Thank you so much for being here tonight to celebrate the solstice with me. I will see you back here next week for some big magic. All right. Thank you guys so, so much. Be good to each other, be good to yourselves, and have a great rest of your week and a great start to winter. I'll see you next Monday.